Hello, Internet. Selling today and how it's changed over the years. I was inspired to talk about this because I was recently at a family event, and one of my uncles happens to be a president of a very fairly large import car dealership. So he oversees everything from sales to marketing to operations, a lot of things going on. And I asked him, I said, what's changed over the last 5 or 10 years in cars? And he's like, oh, more of the same. And then I kind of asked a little further, like, oh, well, what about technology and how's that kind of affecting the business? And then he started opening up and he pointed to his iPhone and he said, this is changing car sales because customers today are going to the dealership with knowledge of the pricing, knowledge of the cars, the colors. They know all this information, so they cannot get tricked or cannot pay more than what the going market value is. Now I said, well, how come you aren't bankrupt yet? If you're making less money per car. He said, well, we're having way less customer service issues. So when the salesperson promises the customer, four brand new tires if they come back next week after they bought a car, they come back next week and the manager says, no, we never offer four new tires. And the salesperson lied about it. Those type of issues aren't happening now, where they happened a lot in the past. So here's a photo of, and it's this guy, right? The kind of a sleazy car salesperson is what often we think about when we think of car sales. But we're transitioning away from this. My uncle even mentioned that when he first started selling cars, the strategy was you get the customer's keys, you throw them on top of a roof, and you don't let them leave until you sell them a car. That's how you did it 20 years ago. But that's all changing now. And so you might be saying, well, what does the car salesperson do? Well, they help facilitate the sale. They have to answer all the inquiries they're getting from the emails. A lot of people email now, like, hey, do you guys have this car and how much? They're not even calling. You have the phones to answer. You have people walking up to the dealership. You have many other things going on. So the salesperson today is an organized person who has a lot of product information and puts the customer needs first. That's how sales is changing. And he even mentioned that the majority of his hires, and hiring is big now for sales, are straight out of college. So these are millennials. These are people in their early 20s. They just graduated college and maybe they couldn't get the job they wanted. So they get a sales job. Nothing wrong with that sales job because they pay well. And because, for example, my uncle's dealerships now, they no longer do commission. They give them a straight salary. Now, they do give them incentives, though. They give them a bonus. But the bonus at the end of the month is based on customer service reports and surveys. So when you're done buying a car, you'll often get a link in an email or a phone call asking you to fill out a survey of how your experience was. And that's how a lot of car salespeople today are getting incentives. And to me, that's great. The big thing as well that he also mentioned is millennials talking to baby boomers. I was mentioning that most of the people that he hires are millennials. So these are young adults who lived on electronics their entire life since they were at adolescence. They had electronic devices. Now the baby boomers are the majority of the customers out there. These are the people that are buying cars because they have the money, the 52 to 70-year-olds. They have the money, they're coming to the dealership. They may or may not be tech savvy. Many of you know what I'm talking about when you work with your parents. They always have issues with their router, their internet connection, or their phone. This same thing is happening at the car dealership. So what they're actually training salespeople on today, especially introductory salespeople, is listening, empathy, and being able to communicate with baby boomers. Nobody likes to be talked down to. Everybody likes to be treated equal. So how do you get millennials to treat baby boomers with respect? And that's the majority of what these car salespeople are training people now. So if you ever wonder why all these sales training programs and all these sales books spend so much time on interpersonal skills and soft skills, how to listen, actively listen, repeating words back to people, eye contact, building trust, building credibility. These are all skills that are going to make you able to be the next generation of salespeople. With that, I'd like you to pull out something you can write on. And I want you to write, what are you going to do to make yourself a better salesperson? With that, I'd like you to pull out something you can write on, and I want you to write, what are you going to do to make yourself a better salesperson?